What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. It's time for another tier list, and with the release of Vel'Koz and some extra time on El Bardo, we now know that at least BARD is absolutely broken in a permaban each game, if you build the right items, that is. Also, don't forget that you can save big time on skins and wildcards if you check out the link in the description below. Anyways, let's start with the tier list and the Baron lane. For the Baron lane, we have Fiora as the best pickable champion in the carry department. Don't get baited by the recent fleet footwork Fioras, go for Conqueror and enjoy your life with Gluttonous Greaves. The AD you gain will make life so much better, and there's a secret when it comes to Repulse on Fiora. Repulse has an enchant that actually procs a vital without you dealing damage, which makes it a lot easier for you to proc all the other vitals. Let's, for example, imagine you're close to a target and you pop the vital via Repulsor. Then you proc ultimate and you pop all the other vitals while the enemy is still CC'd. That sounds pretty unfair? Yeah, because it is unfair. But yeah, as per usual, pick anything within the S tier and you have a good time in the Baron lane. The A tier is off meta and the B tier is stay away from them. Within the A tier, there are a few secret things you can explore to just, get the feeling of them. For example, Tryndamere, which is not really that bad of a champion, or Vayne if you truly understand what to do, how to part the champion, and how to test the limits. But if you truly want to play a ranged top lane champion, just talk in Varus. As for my Yone top lane players, there's like one thing that I truly don't understand. I see many of you going Grasp and then Ignite with like weird precision setups. Why don't you just go Lethal Tempo with Barrier, Resolve main, and 2 Alacrity? That way you scale, that way you survive lane, you brute force traits, and you can basically level 1 kill a lot of these champions if they choose to fight into you thanks to the power of lethal tempo. Just give it a shot and let me know how it went for you. For the tank department, well, there's not much to do outside of maybe introducing a new tier called Galio's Aegis tier, where Sion and Garen would be the absolute top 1 champions. When it comes to real strength though, it is still Poppy with the most brain damaged, insane power you can ever imagine. And all the other stat check champions such as Garen and obviously Volibear are very much annoying too. But if there's one underdog, quite literally a dog, then it's going to be Nasus. Yes, he is within the S tier, but there might be a world in which he might even be the best possible tank up there because of teleport. If you do it well with teleport and running Ghost at the same time and understand how to play around your power spikes, which the most important one is going to be to get to Lucidity Boots and Sheen, then you can dodge the most volatile phase for Nasus, which is the early game, and then just completely dominate from that point onwards. Now let's talk about the jungle role as per usual. The role got buffed for no apparent reason, it's absolutely broken, the best role in the game, the most unbalanced role in the game, the easiest role to climb with, and everything broken. But the role is only held back by the players playing for 700 GPM on carry champions. Here we are, yet again, complaining. Anyways, let's talk about champions. Aatrox still by far the best champion to reliably carry most of your games. If you want a champion that's a little bit more flippy but super strong in the early game, it's Lee Sin. Please run the Conqueror green main like Resolve Tree setup, that way you can force anything you want to. Something you have to explore anyway, it's just shifting towards green main like Resolve main, and then utilizing the power of Conqueror to just force trades, stat check people, and just snowball the game with that. It's also something that works for Kha'Zix. Like, I did it before the durability patch, like I don't know how long ago. I went Resolve main on Kha'Zix, and now you can do the same. You can go Resolve main and even Conqueror into champions like Lee Sin. It makes life a lot easier because you don't just randomly die when they touch you. It's still a little bit dangerous, don't get me wrong, it is dangerous, but it makes it so much easier. The same applies into Xin and Pantheon. If you run Resolve main into these champions, they lose so much of their kill potential because you block so much damage and then you turn with Conqueror and then life becomes so much better. Now I want to talk about the A tier for a little bit. There are a few champions in there that you can maybe place higher depending on your skill level. Evelynn is a champion, Yone is a champion, Rengar is a champion, and needlessly to say, Nyla too. Luckily, these champions are not very often in your games, especially Evelynn with a cheeky level 1 invade onto your chickens and then just trying to fight you, because Evelynn's early game actually isn't that bad. But yeah, we should just be happy that it isn't happening too many times. As for Yone, he is in the similar category like Nyla. It's more about just getting to your items as fast as possible. For Yone, it's 2 items, then he's absolutely broken, because Yone's 2 item spike is equivalent to like a normal champion's 4 item spike because he gains 100% crit, and then he takes over the game. But the problem for this champion is his early core is so weak and he has so many distinct weaknesses during that time that he might fall behind too early. However, if he gets to avoid this problem, then this champion absolutely dominates the map. As for the tank champions, Rammus is still the same here. Yes, he has a slower clear, but it doesn't really matter because his gameplay loop is still the same. He does free camps into ganking you, free camps into ganking you, and he just forces ganks. If he is successful with a gank, he will repeatedly do so, and it's all about the enemy jungle to punish this or to counteract this, because if he doesn't, the game will just be lost, because Rammus is so tanky, he can simply force dives whenever he wants to, the moment he has at least boots. Let's talk about mid lane for a second. First off, we have Aurora. You can think about her as a mage or an assassin. I don't really know what to label her, but she's absolutely busted, so let's put it this way. And the newest addition to the Rift, which is going to be Vel'Koz, is also quite the cool champion. He's basically the better Morgana. Now to give you some context as to why I think so. First off, Vel'Koz can play the lane entirely uninteractive. He can just throw out his second ability, which he will start with, and nearly instantly clear the wave. On Boots or Mana, compared to Morgana, he has an instant lethal window. If he hits you with a Q and you don't have bone plating, you will just get killed by his ultimate. That's the funniest thing. Now, the only big issue he has, he's even more vulnerable than Morgana because of the limited self-peel he has. However, his peel spell has a pretty low cooldown, which is quite ironic. It's similarly as low as the first ability. And the second ability, which is usually his wave clear, is the highest cooldown ability. And his ultimate ability also has quite a low cooldown. But again, this champion's damage is quite insane, but he has quite a few issues or bugs, or we don't know if it's intended, since his passive automatically crits. Infinity Orb doesn't work with it, and Infinity Orb also doesn't increase the true damage from his ultimate. The question here remains, is this intended or is this a bug, because this completely dictates how the item builds of this champion's change. Now let's talk about assassins again. Ahri has the highest mobility, the best potential map pressure early on from all these assassins, and is quite consistent compared to all the other options. Akali is pretty OP when it comes to killing one person, but carrying a game is pretty difficult. Kassadin is really strong, but sometimes it's going to be difficult to carry with him, especially with the repulsor meta. Nocturne is super annoying, but completely underplayed. I don't really know why, by the way. Echo still has the same gameplay loop, super toxic, where you full clears the wave super early on then invades, and Pyke is just an underplayed one-trick champion. If there's one champion within all these, especially if I look into the A tier, that is maybe underrated, it could be Katarina. But then at the same time, Repulsor exists, so I don't know. For the other tier, where we have everything that's something else than mages or assassins, we have Yasuo still the most annoying pick, because he just wins lane, dominates you, scales, and just makes life hell for any mage, for any champion, as any projectiles. It's just annoying to face. There's also something I played just for the funsies, this BARD mid, and it's quite an interesting pick. It's a lot stronger than people believe, but I don't want to rank it just yet. It's similar to example to Nasus in the sense that you have insane setup. Like, Nasus setup is Wither and the enemy can't move and they just get ran down, and BARD setup is basically ult into CC into death. That's quite the gameplay loop. It's really interesting and really toxic, but really fun. Apart from that, nothing much has changed, so again, feel free to pick anything from the S tier. A tier is something you should rather stay away from, and B tier is, you know how it goes. Now let's talk about AD carries. Varus is still by far the best and most annoying champion to face as a blind pick. Any lane neutralizer champions, for example Ezreal, Misfortune, and Corki, are super potent still. Nami Lucian, Lucian Milio, all these picks, Seraphine and Ashe, Jonathan, and any kind of setup champion that allows him to at least survive until one item, then he is unleashed. Draven Samir with any engaged champion, and Xayah is a pretty powerful damage pick. She's very good into engage and can even be played as like with an enchanter running after people if you're allowed to take ghost, that is. But keep in mind, all these champions within the S tier are so much better than any single champion below. All the champions below are so much weaker and it's not even remotely close. And yeah, there will be people saying, but in late game I do this and this. Yeah, but if you for example pick Ezreal, you're supposed to dominate lane into most or if not all crit-centric AD carries because your champion's early and mid game is so incredibly potent. If you then compare apples with peaches in late game and be like, look, this champion has the same gold as I and suddenly a late game hypercarry does more than an Ezreal, we're really surprised. They're not supposed to get to that stage because they're so much weaker and you have to do something before they reach that point. It's the entire Kale argument. You should basically never look at a champion that is supposed to be thousands upon thousands gold behind you from the perspective of being the same gold, because that is not supposed to happen. Now for the mages, think about reliable wave clear, good setup, good rotational value. Like for example, Heimerdinger has insane wave clear, insane setup value, Ziggs insane wave clear, insane setup value, but they all are limited by one and one thing only: boots or mana. Mages have to survive until the first base, and then they're unleashed. They can clear the waves from near distance, and even the support can go wherever they want to. As long as the mage has access to ult and wave clear abilities, he will never get killed that easily. As for supports, Nautilus is still the absolute GOAT pick, and keep in mind all the champions within the S tier are very much pickable, but there are a few things you have to keep in mind. For example, pick only J4 into constellations where the enemy has barely any mobility, and your cage will be super effective. And only pick Poppy support if the enemy team has a lot of dashes that you want to deny. For the Protect tier, Emilio is still by far the most annoying champion that you can face. A lot of damage, CC, crowd control removal, and just being so annoying with the range benefits. It is absolutely obnoxious playing into this champion, especially with the right champions next to him, for example also Lucian. Another queen basically that is equally as annoying with a Lucian is going to be Nami, and one of the champions that has been so much more popular, well, technically speaking not popular for whatever reason because this champion is absolutely bonkers in the right spots, is Braum. But yeah, any champion within the S tier is absolutely playable and broken within their own reasons, and the weakest is most likely going to be Soraka. Soraka really excels in games where people don't know what to do, don't know how to fight, because she can then sustain people over and over and over again. If the games are closer in a sense of people's skill, then Soraka loses a lot of value because she simply cannot sustain the amount of damage that's incoming unless she's given enough time to do so. For the carry tier, we have the by far best champion in the entire game right now. It's El Bardo. This champion is beyond insane, but there's one little thing that you have to keep in mind that many people are getting baited with. Open up the leaderboard right now, check the top BARD builds and tell me what you see. You will see Lucidity Boots, some weird defensive item, some weird Leandri, whatever. How about you just go Boots or Mana, Nash's Tooth, Lichbane, or for example Trident, Rabadon, and you just one-shot people. You just go with a Relic Shield. Your runes are Electrocute, Scorch, Cheap Shot, and Zombie Ward, and either Bone Plating or Gathering. And if you're into Engage, you go Electrocute, Nullifying Orb, Bone Plating, and Perseverance with a Zombie Ward. Zombie Ward is 50 AP that you almost always get super early in the game, which makes BARD even more powerful, especially with Boots or Mana. And then you just one-shot people on cooldown. Your passive has a 40% AP ratio, your Q has an 80% ratio, your W has a 30 to 60% AP ratio. So why would you go tank or supportive items when you can literally one-tap people in the time of 1 CC? You can even go further, you can throw in an ultimate, go close, hit your first ability, and then afterwards press repulse and they're CC'd for ages while you just beat them up with the meeps. I just don't get it. Stop griefing yourself. I've played this champion for I think 25 games and I lost 3. Because the champion is so busted. It's so difficult to lose. But that's only the case if you actually try to take the game into your own hands rather than going into the supportive mentality of I need to help my team. No. That is not how this champion works in this game, and you shouldn't look at him like this. It's more of a carry champion. And with that, we are at the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment for more engagement, and we'll see each other for more content very soon. Maybe a few streams, I don't know yet. I need to see how I like the game. We are close to Chell. I think we have a 75% winner or something. And we'll be back for more video gaming. As per usual, thank you for watching. Take care.